Happy Thursday, everyone. This is the last day of the week. I know that's exciting. Also, the fact that tomorrow is Halloween is exciting. So, I'm going to try to go pretty fast so you can have some time to work. If not, there will be 4 problems on the homework tonight that I'm pretty sure you could probably guess what those 4 are. But anyways, I want to go through last night's homework real quick. There's a couple of them that I need to do a little bit of extra work on because I just want to make sure you understand them. Then the other 4 I'm going to go through quite quickly, okay? So here's number 1. Again, the key with this problem is when I'm subtracting g of x, don't forget your signs have to change. So when you do this correctly, your final answer should be 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. If you just can't wrap your head around that, put a mark by it, and on Monday when we come back, I'll be sure to go through any questions that you have. Go directly below it, if you don't mind, to number 3. And on number 3, we're adding. So very simple. You're just adding those. Therefore, you're writing them exactly the way you see them as functions, and you're just combining those like terms. So our final answer here is 2x squared minus 15x plus 3. Okay, so let's go up to number 2, because this is one of the ones that I do not have finished. And I don't have it finished because, remember, yesterday I told you that division is just a touch different. Because I have a variable in the denominator, we need a little bit more for this answer. Remember, we're trying to find what x can be, but there's a limitation to what x can be because we have that variable in the denominator. So remember yesterday I told you this is what you do. You take your denominator, x squared minus 4, you set it not equal to 0, because that's the problem I have to solve. What can x not be? Well, x squared minus 4 cannot equal 0, so it starts right there. So how do I figure that out? Well, add 4. So x squared cannot equal positive 4. But remember, to get x alone, we have to take the square root, which means when I take the square root of both sides, I have to add positive and negative, and then of course the square root of 4 is 2. So there's actually 2 values that x cannot equal, positive 2 and negative 2. So therefore, my complete answer is this. It's 2x squared minus 9x plus 2 over x squared minus 4 for all values of x as long as x is not equal positive or negative 2. Those are my limits. I cannot have those values. It cannot be a part of my answer. So I have to do what we said yesterday. We have to limit our domain, okay? We have to limit our domain. Okay, so directly below it, we have multiplication. Again, the weird thing with this is since this binomial is x squared minus 4 and x got canceled, there's going to be some spaces in between. So when you're doing these, that kind of tricks you if you always just put them next to each other without thinking. So be careful. If you made a mistake with that, remember, at the end, I can only compare like term or combine like terms. So the only like terms I actually have here is negative 8x squared plus 2x squared. Everything else I got by multiplying this trinomial by this binomial. So you should have a final answer of 2x to the 4th minus 9x cubed minus 6x squared plus 36x minus 8. Okay? Again, if you have any questions over any of the ones that we're doing here, make sure you write them down. And on Monday, I will repeat or go over those. Okay, so number 5, let's pause. Here's another one. Look, I'm dividing. There is a variable in the denominator, so I'm going to have to limit my domain. It can't be everything. There's going to be something that it cannot equal. So what did we say you do? You take the denominator, 1 minus 6x, you set it not equal to 0, and you solve. So let's do that. I'm going to subtract 1, so negative 6x cannot equal negative 1. Then I'm going to divide by negative 6. Those negatives will cancel, so x cannot equal 1 over 6. That decimal answer is not beautiful, so I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, my answer is x squared minus 4 over 1 minus 6x for all values of x, such that, or as long as, x cannot equal 1 over 6. And there it is. There's my answer. Can't do anything else to it. I mean, technically I could factor the numerator, but that won't help me, so I just leave it alone. All right, number 6. I've got it done, and it's here right there. Check it out. Hopefully you got all those right. Again, if you have any questions, hold on to those, and on Monday I will go over them. So negative 6x cubed plus x squared plus 24x minus 4. All right, so I need you to go ahead and get out your note sheet from yesterday too. We're going to do the backside of those notes, and you're going to have a little assignment tonight that, as you can see, I'm not giving you a new piece of paper. It's those last 4 problems. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to take up too much of your time. When I add this negative 2, remember what this is saying. It's saying f plus g of negative 2. So if you go back to what we had talked about earlier, doesn't that just replace f plus g of x? So doesn't that mean that for this particular problem, they want you to treat x like it were negative 2? So that's literally all we're doing, okay? So what I would encourage you guys to do is go ahead and follow whatever the operation of functions is telling you. So this one's telling me to do f plus g. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, f plus g. So I'm going to take f of x, which is 2x squared. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. 2x squared minus x minus 12. And I'm going to add to that g of x. Remember, when we add, our signs stay the same. So that's going to be a positive x, and that's going to stay a positive 7. I'm going to combine these. So look, guys, this is going to be f plus g of x. The result will. So what is that result? Well, 2x squared drops down. What will happen to negative x plus x? They literally cancel. And then the only thing I have left is positive 7 minus 12, which is minus 5. So f plus g of x is 2x squared minus 5. But we didn't want, this problem didn't want f plus g of x. It wanted f plus g of negative 2. So what do you think that means, y'all? Well, I mean, come on. Just think logically. It means we're going to plug negative 2 into x. So in this equation, every time I see x, I'm replacing it with negative 2. So I'm going to grab my calculator and or Desmos, wherever. Now, y'all don't need your computers today. You're going to go 2, open parentheses, negative 2, close parentheses, squared, minus 5. You're literally plugging negative 2 directly into x. So use your calculators. If you did this in your head, negative 2 squared is positive 4. So that's why you need those parentheses. Positive 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 5 is 3. So f plus g of negative 2 equals positive 3. That's it. That's how you do these. So don't overcomplicate them, okay? Let me do number 8. I'm going to take f of x, which we already said is 2x squared minus x minus 12. But this time I'm going to subtract g of x, okay? I'm subtracting g of x. Well, remember, subtracting means these signs change. So that's going to change to a minus x, and that's going to change to a minus 7. So look, guys, f minus g of x is 2x squared. Negative x minus x is minus 2x. And negative 12 minus 7 is minus 19. That's f minus g of x. But remember, they want me to do f minus g of 8. So naturally, what am I doing, y'all? I'm plugging 8 into x. Everywhere I see it, y'all. That's once, twice, both of those spots. So I'm going to grab my calculator, and I'm going to go 2 times 8 squared minus 2 times 8 minus 19. And I'm just going to type that in just like you see it in my normal yellow calculator. You could use Desmos too if you happen to have grabbed a Chromebook, but you don't need your Chromebook actually. No, close it. You don't need it. So go 2 times 8 squared minus 2 times 8 minus 19, and that answer is 93. So therefore, f minus g of 8 is 93. All right, let's keep on going. We're going to do f times g of negative 1. All right, so f times g of negative 1 means I'm taking f of x, 2x squared, minus x, minus 12, and I'm multiplying it by g of x, x plus 7. All right, here we go. I'm going to zoom in here so we can just focus on multiplying. I'm going to start right here with 2x squared. 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. 2x squared times 7 is positive 14x squared. Okay, stay with me, y'all. Now I'm going to move to negative x. Negative x times x, negative x squared. Negative x times 7 is negative 7x. And the last thing I'm going to distribute is negative 12. Negative 12 times x is negative 12x. And finally, negative 12 times positive 7 is negative 84. You might need your calculator for that one. So look, guys, what did we just do? What are we about to find? We're about to find f times g of x, right? F times g of x, just like we did yesterday. F times g of x equals 2x cubed. 14x squared minus 1x squared is 13x squared. Negative 7x minus 12x is negative 19x minus 84. So there we did. We did exactly what we did yesterday. Now, how do we finish this thing off? Well, remember, they don't want f times g of x. They want f times g of negative 1. So what am I doing? Every time I see x, I'm plugging negative 1 to it. That's here, here, and here. So I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to go 2, open parenthesis, negative 1, close parenthesis, cubed, plus 13, open parenthesis, negative 1, close parenthesis, squared, minus 19, open parenthesis, negative 1, close parenthesis, minus 84. You don't have to think. You just have to plug it in exactly like you see it into the equation. Every time we saw x, we plugged in negative 1. If you type that in your calculator, you get negative 54. So guys, look, f times g of negative 1 equals negative 54. That's my answer. All right, that's my answer. Last one, number 10, we're doing f divided by g of 5. Now, because of this being division, remember what we talked about yesterday? We had to put a limit on our domain. Well, you don't have to do that on this problem because they actually want you to solve treating x as if it were 5. So when I come up with this equation, which is just going to be f of x, which again, remember, is 2x squared minus x minus 12, over g of x, which again, we've used the same thing every time as x plus 7. So I don't have to do anything else with that. That is f divided by g of x. So if I want to do f divided by g of 5, I'm literally going to take 5 and I'm plugging it right here into x. Every time I see it, every time I see x, I'm plugging in 5. So I'm going to go up top, 2, open parenthesis, 5, close parenthesis squared, minus 5, minus 12, and that's over 5 plus 7. So I would encourage you to use your alpha y equal key to get your fraction bar. Alpha y equals number 1. And then up top, put 2 times 5 squared minus 5 minus 12. And in the bottom, put 5 plus 7. And let your calculator do its work. And it'll give you a weird answer, and that is 33 over 12. And that is f divided by g of 5. So this is the same thing as what we did yesterday, except for doing the operations of the function, we're actually evaluating the function. So we're doing the operation and then we're plugging in the values. Now, if you just look at all that, it looks like a lot of crazy work, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's not that hard. So on to my favorite thing. This is the second time this year that I've taught something that I absolutely love teaching while I was not here. This is called composition of functions. And it's kind of like, I said this yesterday in one of the classes. There's a movie called Inception, which is like a dream within a dream. That's kind of how I think about this. This is like a function within a function, is what composition of functions is. I'll explain it in just a second. But listen, here's what this means. If I have two functions, f of x and g of x, and they want me to do f of, like that's not a dot, it's a small circle. It looks kind of like it's saying fog. It's not quite saying fog. It's representing composition of functions, but f of g of x means you're going to your f of x function, and everywhere you see x, you're plugging your g of x function into it. You're plugging a function into another function. Does that make sense? It might sound like it's weird, but that's what composition of functions means. Okay, for example, look at number 11. I'm doing f of, see, that's not a dot, it's not times, it's composition. That's composition of functions. So I am taking my g of x function and I'm plugging it into my f of x function. Okay, that's what that means. We're taking f of x and we're plugging g of x into it. So let me make this make sense. We're doing f of, what is my g of x function? X minus 1. We're doing f of x minus 1. So here's what this means, y'all. I'm going to my f of x function, 5x minus 3, and every time I see x, I'm plugging my g of x into it. So instead of this saying 5x minus 3, I'm going to insert x minus 1. I'm going to replace x with x minus 1. So instead of 5 times x minus 3, it's 5 times x minus 1 minus 3. Y'all see what I've done there? That is composition of functions. I took my g of x function, x minus 1, and I plugged it into my f of x function in place of x. Wrap your head around that for a second. That's what composition of functions is. Now, from here, you're literally just solving. Well, how do I solve this? Well, I got to distribute, right? What's 5 times x? 5x. What's 5 times negative 1? Negative 5. And then don't forget about that minus 3. Well, aren't these like terms right here? Negative 5 minus 3? Well, I can combine them. So, f of g of x equals 5x minus 8. That's it. That's how you do composition of functions. It sounds hard, and maybe it is a little tricky, but that is what composition of functions means. So let me show you another one. Remember, it's all about order. We're doing g of h of x. So into my g of x function, I'm plugging h of x into it. Okay? Well, what is h of x? Well, h of x, over here, look, is x cubed plus 8. X cubed plus 8. So I'm doing g of x cubed plus 8. Okay? Wrap your head around that. Every time in my g of x function, every time I see x, I'm replacing it with x cubed plus 8. So literally, I take my g of x function, and every time I see that x, I'm plugging x cubed plus 8. So instead of this saying x minus 1, it's going to say, instead of x minus 1, it's going to say x cubed plus 8 minus 1. Now, again, I put these in parentheses because I wanted you to picture I'm replacing x with my h of x. I'm taking my h of x function and I'm going to my g of x function And every time I see x, I'm plugging in x cubed plus 8, my h of x. So I can't do anything in those parentheses, so I'm going to go ahead and let them erase, and then I'm going to combine my like terms. Well, x cubed has nothing to combine with, but 8 minus 1 is positive 7, so therefore my answer is x cubed plus 7. Okay? And this was my answer for that previous one, 5x minus 8. That's composition of functions, okay? Hopefully you're starting to see it a little more clearly. Let me do number 13. We're doing what? H of g of x. So my question is, what is g of x? Well, g of x is x minus 1. So what does that mean I'm doing? That means every time in my h of x function I see x, I'm plugging x minus 1 into it. So instead of x cubed plus 8, I'm doing x minus 1 cubed plus 8. Do you see that, y'all? I'm replacing x with 8 or with g of x, x minus 1. Now this problem's pretty tricky because that means I've got to do x minus 1 cubed. Now don't forget about that plus 8. It's still there. But I got to do all kinds of multiplication. So that's quite a bit of work. Let's get started. I got to do x times x, that's x squared. I got to do x times negative 1, that's negative x. But then I also have to distribute negative 1 times x, that's another negative x. And then I got to distribute negative 1 times negative 1. That's positive 1. Now that's just these two, okay? So what's my result of just those two? Well, everything here stays the same, except right here, these are like terms. So I'm going to take x squared, negative x minus x is negative 2x plus 1, and I'm going to distribute that to x minus 1. Don't forget about that plus 8. Now, this has got, I got to distribute one more time, okay? So bear with me. I'm gonna move over here to the left side, okay? Bear with me. I'm gonna take x squared and multiply it by x. So that's x cubed. I'm gonna take x squared and multiply it by negative 1. That's negative x squared. Then I'm going to take negative 2x and multiply by x. That's negative 2x squared. Then I'm going to take negative 2, multiply by negative 1. That's positive 2x, because negative times negative cancels. Then I'm going to take this positive 1 and distribute it to x. That's positive x. And then I'm going to take that positive 1 and multiply by negative 1. That's minus 1. Now, actually, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. Don't forget, you also have this plus 8 that needs to come on down, and we can combine these with the like terms. So my answer, and I'm going to come right back over here to this, is x cubed negative x squared minus 2x squared is minus 3x squared. Positive 2x plus 1x is positive 3x. And negative 1 plus 8, positive 7. So my answer is x cubed minus 3x squared plus 3x plus 7. And that's a pretty tough one. So hopefully you guys were able to kind of roll with that. All right. Questions? Please put an asterisk next to it if you have a question, and I will go through that with you on Monday, okay? Now, the last one's pretty easy after that. We're doing g of f of x. Well, f of x has the equation 5x minus 3. So we're going to our g of x function right here, and every time I see x, I'm plugging in 5x minus 3. So instead of x minus 1, we're replacing x with 5x minus 3. And then, of course, the rest of the equation, minus 1. So instead of x minus 1, we replaced it with 5x minus 3 minus 1. Now, I can't do anything with those, so I don't really need these parentheses. I'm going to erase them. And then combine my like terms. Well, 5x has no like term, and negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. So literally, my final answer, my g of f of x equals 5x minus 4. So way easier than number 13. 13 is the most challenging one, obviously. All right, last one, and then we're going to call it a day. Our video right now is at 25 minutes, so y'all should have about 15 minutes left to do those last 4 problems. I'm going to do one of these, okay? I'm going to do number 15. Number 15 is a lot like the one that you guys have in your assignment tonight over this. So, again, there's a couple of good ways to go about this. We're going to do our composition of functions. So we're going to treat this like it's g of f of x. We're going to come up with what that answer equals, and then we're going to plug 2 into it. Okay, so here we go. Let's go. We're going to do g of f of x. Well, what is f of x? Well, f of x is 5x minus 3. So we're going to go to our g of x function. That's x minus 1, and we're going to plug in 5x minus 3. So we got 5x minus 3 minus 1. Now, I know we just did this, and it equals 5x minus 4. But remember, that's g of f of x. So now, lastly, we want to do g of f of 2. So that means we're taking this final product that we got when we did g of f of x, and every time we see the x, we're going to plug 2 into it. So 5 times 2 minus 4. 5 times 2 is 10, minus 4 is 6. So our final answer is 6. 5 of f of 2, or I'm sorry, g of f of 2 equals 6. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, again, you might struggle a little bit on your homework with number 10. I think you can do it, though. We're going to use those same functions that are right up here at the top of your paper, okay? So don't be looking elsewhere. Look up there. And you're going to do 2 composition of functions, okay? And then you're going to do one where you're subtracting, and then you're plugging in a value. And then you're going to do one where you do composition and you plug in a value. So that is your homework tonight. Numbers 7, 8, 9, and 10. 4 problems. And like I said, you got a good solid 15 minutes to do it. I expect that you not waste this class time, but that you get right on it, get it completed. I'm going to leave the answer key with the sub. So if you're eager to find out whether or not you got it right, I'm sure she won't mind checking yours and seeing if you did it right. Actually, I forgot. We're going to do one thing. I'm glad I caught this. I almost didn't. We're going to change number 7. We're going to change number 7. So change number 7, please, to g of f of x. We're going to change that one. That one was pretty tricky the other way. So we're going to change that to g of f of x instead. Okay? All right. So there is your assignment. You got time. Get it done. I hope y'all have an awesome Halloween. I'll see you on Monday.